Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome. If you are looking for helpful holiday spending hacks live event, you're in the right place. It's nice to have you all here with us. And without further ado, we're at the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and hop on in. So, we are Life Money U, a financial well-being program provided by BCU, a credit union fiercely committed to your financial well-being. I'm Danny Bushick, and I am a program manager for Life Money U, here alongside my fellow financial coaches, Kim and Justin. Just as a little background, today, again, we will be talking about spending hacks for the holidays. For context, I have a partner. I have three fur babies and a bearded dragon, no children, but I do have a lot of cousins and family members who I prepare holiday spending for. I've been with the credit union just over 5 years and with the program over a year, and I'm excited to be here. Kim, why don't you go next and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. Thanks, Danny. Good morning, everyone. My name's Kim. I am a member success manager for our South region here in San Antonio. I have been with BCU for the last 10 years, but inside of the financial industry for a little over 15 years. I have two sons, Danny and Benji, who are 10 and 6. They definitely keep things busy and chaotic and add to all of the fun mix of our day-to-day life. I grew up in a very large traditional Hispanic family where holidays included, multiple stops, many hugs, sometimes the occasional fun chaos. But, I definitely have my most favorite traditions and memories that all involve the holidays. And I really look forward to the conversation that we're going to have today and where this will lead us.
Justin, what about you?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So a little bit about me. My name's Justin. I'm actually not far, North Texas, so a little bit north of where Kim's at. I've got a partner. We've been together 8 years. No kids, but I do have nieces. I'm really excited. I've been with the credit union, BCU, since for the last 4 years. However, I have been in the credit union industry for over 25 years now, and I was telling the ladies earlier, I was like, man, it's hard to believe that I can actually say that. It's been a long time, but super
Amazing.
passionate about helping people and how people can discover financial freedom, and ready to learn a little bit about Kim and some of her stories, and Danny, and hopefully share some of mine as well.
Yeah, and
For
hopefully all of
sure.
our stories help you on the call today make better money moves for your holiday spending. So with that, I'm going to kick it off with the obvious. Beginning mid-August, we started seeing all the pumpkin spice lattes. We started seeing all the candy already out at stores, and you already know it. You probably walked in and saw Christmas trees at the Home Depot and Lowe's because Halloween's already happened in the eyes of marketers. So with that, when is too early to start spending for the holidays, to start planning for the holidays? Justin, why don't you go first?
So I'm not very much of a planner. So well, let me take that back. Not necessarily so much about planning the event. I do start saving early. So I start that early in the year. I love to use my rainy day savings just to set it and forget it, keep that money going into that account, tax returns, any little extra I can add to it to be prepared. That's one great thing I love about the credit union is the rainy day savings that I can just contribute to and then use it whenever I need. I've heard Kim is a little bit more of a planner and likes to be able to start a little early. So
Yeah, Kim, why don't you go? There's no right or wrong way. So, how do you plan?
Exactly, exactly. And it evolves, right? So I am a planner. I love planners, huge fan of planners in general. I have one for just about everything. When it comes to our finances, bills, planner, but especially when it comes to events, in my house and family, I tend to be the one that likes to like take charge of who's going to do what, or it's going to be at our house, or this is what people are going to bring kind of thing. And so for me, the planning really starts early. So even so much as planning for getting a list of who we're going to be purchasing for this year for the holidays, or where is Thanksgiving going to be hosted at. Those things are all things that I like to try to prepare for. Like Justin, I have a rainy day savings that we contribute to throughout the year. And that's the kind of thing that we like to be intentional about saving and putting our money in there for these specific purposes. So we use them for 4 times so you can withdraw per year, all four kind of planned out, whether it's our tax season, our two kids' birthdays, or the holidays. That's where we put things in. And, even when it comes to preparing for, purchases, Prime Day deals, Target deals, all that, I start looking real early to think like, okay, maybe so and so would like this, or I can see I can buy this in bulk at Costco. Let me purchase this, or whatever the case may be. I do try to tend to get ahead because, just as with everything, things can change at any time. And so when I have a little bit of a plan in order, it just kind of makes me feel a little bit better, although that can change 3, 4, 5 times before the actual event. At least I kind of have my idea of what we'll do.
Yeah, definitely. We just posted in the Q&A, but please add your questions to our chat. So things might come up. I might see it. Justin, Kim might see it. We can answer it in real time. Or at the end, we have 15 minutes. So 30 of us having this conversation, talking through a lot of important topics. And then the final 15 will be for you, our audience who made time today to spend time with us and talk through this. So Kim, you talked a lot about planning for families and coordinating gatherings. And so oftentimes people think it's just gifts that we're planning for, but it really is food and kind of accommodations. So spending nights places. Just curious, do you have folks that come into town? Do you host? How do you plan for having everyone in close proximity for the holidays? And Justin, you'll go after Kim.
Yeah, so historically, my husband, I forgot to give a shout out to my husband. I've been married for 10 years. My husband is amazing. His family is in Austin, so not too far of a hike, but definitely something that we have to prepare for. So yes, sometimes my in-laws will spend the night, and especially like when it comes to Thanksgiving time, I always like to plan that weekend over. They're going to spend the night or they'll be here for the weekend. My youngest birthday is literally just a couple of days after Thanksgiving. So we kind of kill two birds with one stone when we do birthday parties as well, right after Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
Black Friday. So again, planning just really comes in handy. But yes, we do prepare for things. I always like to do things. My family really supports one another in knowing that if you're hosting, we're going to bring a couple of dishes or side items, or we're not going to have you worry about drinks or things that they can bring with them because realistically, of course, they're not going to bring mac and cheese on Wednesday for Thursday's meal. So, just kind of preparing for those things that can be a contribution and help to the house, especially when you're preparing for events and things like Thanksgiving or Christmas. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Justin, what about you? How do you guys go about getting everyone in close proximity for the holidays?
Yeah, we're pretty similar as well as Kim. Luckily, like my folks and my sister and her family, they're not far, so it's not like we're having to catch a flight. They're half hour out in the suburbs. But definitely having the entire family pitch in. If you know meats, like who's going to cover the meat, things like that, who's going to bring what dishes. So trying to get a
Mhm.
better idea of what everybody's going to contribute to the event.
Yeah.
And then as that changes, be open to new ideas and new ways to do things.
Yeah, I can bring a little different perspective here. I'm out in the Pacific Northwest, so I travel for the holidays pretty far. So I go to Chicago. I go to my hometown for the holidays, and I do both Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm extremely family oriented, so I actually have to start planning quite early in advance. So I do that usually around spring, summertime, and I know it sounds crazy, but flight wise, it allows me to get it on my calendar. I get to look forward to it. And I use my travel rewards points for that. So a lot of different financial institutions offer different spending credit cards that will help you either accumulate cash back or points, and you can use that. I know I rely on it for travel specifically around the holidays. I know we talked through bringing dishes, and it reminds me of acts of service, which is a love language and something as we talk through evolution is becoming more prominent when it comes to gift giving around the holidays. So I'm curious, Justin, why don't you go first? Just your perspective on love languages and gift giving during the holidays and how you navigate that.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. It's interesting to see how like your love languages can change over time, right? Like it used to
Oh,
be like
yeah.
all about the gift giving, and then as the family evolves, like the kiddos get a little bit older. It's like for me personally, it's just about quality time. aging parents. You don't really, it brings everything like you want to be in the moment. Actually heard a very interesting story about a friend who was actually going to do pictures and then create a calendar of their time together.
I
And so I
love
thought that was
that.
so amazing. Like I'm not a very creative person, but I'm like, how cool is that? That's such an awesome story to be able to share like after, for the next year and then look back on all the moments that you had together as a family. Like I love that.
Hmm. That's awesome. Kim, do you do anything catered to different love languages in your family for the holidays?
We do. And I love that idea of the pictures. Like, it doesn't have to be professional pictures or anything too extravagant, but even the fun, silly pictures or whatever, those are the best to look back on. And then to keep a calendar like that, I love that idea. I'm going to have to try something like that one year. But we absolutely do. And like Justin mentioned, our love languages and everything evolve, right, with time. And I know I am guilty of, especially when I was a first time mom, like wanting to take the beautiful holiday pictures and putting them on cards to send out to everyone and making sure that they had to have a stamp and get mailed out. And I couldn't just pass those out like at the next family gathering. But especially now with my boys being a little bit older and with like, just kind of the economy being where it is and us having our different financial goals changing and evolving as well, we have taken more of a step back on our traditional, or what I used to think social media norms were kind of where they were supposed to be. And now I've really reflected and think that, my own personal love languages include like acts of service and quality time. And so last year, what I did with my boys, especially around Thanksgiving as they were getting ready for their Thanksgiving holiday, was I had them come into the kitchen with me and we baked pies, just regular old pumpkin pies. My oldest loves him a good slice of pumpkin pie. And so we made pies for their teachers and some of the staff at their school, and took them over to their school so that we could give those as gifts, like leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday. And then around Christmas, we did the same with like Chex Mix and, just little things like that, that we can still put our heart into a gift without having to break the bank or stretch our pockets too thin, where we are still allowed to give that gift and utilize and put light on that act of service and quality time, and still allow for the gifts to flow. So absolutely, I love doing that. We also love baking. Our family, every year we kind of go on, I call it like a tamale roadshow, where we try different tamales around San Antonio to
Stop.
decide where we're going to purchase for Christmas. Last year, we like out of nowhere randomly decided we were also going to try our hand at making tamales. They came out okay, but we did end up buying some.
Kim,
But,
that's so
just
cool.
being able to do that quality time and togetherness is always just so much more valuable to me than the monetary gift.
Yeah, you just reminded me of my grandmother. She, for Thanksgiving, doesn't do American Thanksgiving. She does tamales and traditional Mexican cuisine because that's what she grew up cooking. And she did strawberry tamales, like did the sweet
Wow.
kind, which is like super different, but also delicious. Highly recommend. But on the acts of service, I took up a new skill for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to be gifting for Christmas my sister a scarf. And I was talking to my peers here, Justin and Kim, on the call before y'all got here. And it's not easy to learn something new. It also takes a lot of time. And so I was letting them know my sister is into design or everything, but I know she's going to love this scarf because I'm going to give it to her and let her know I spent hours on this for you and my time is priceless, because I know she agrees and she will love it way more than she would like any of her other designer items. So. Yeah, speaking of, more expensive items, though, there are things we need to budget for that might be more expensive. And it's great to use love languages for those that appreciate their love language and really, it really hits for gift giving. But what about for those who, I know, Kim, we talked about your boys, but the gaming stuff and those more expensive gifts for children that we need to budget for? I know one idea comes to mind. It was actually from a member of the credit union, but she opens a CD earlier in the year and uses all of her funds made at maturity for holiday spending. And she even is able to put away a little bit. So there's one idea, again, requires planning in advance, but doesn't require you to dip into anything existing for spending cash. So any ideas about utilizing different tools and maybe financial institution products to save in advance for more expensive holiday purchases? Kim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I always also love the idea of it's like never too early to shine light and educate our kids on the finance thing and the price tag of certain things. So, I know while we were kind of getting prepared, I mentioned like my oldest, he turned 10 years old this year, and that's a big birthday, and we really
Double
wanted to make it
digits.
special for him. And of course, he made it special for us when he informed us of his desire for this gaming PC. And so a lot of research went behind that. And, especially when I think about the holidays and how we plan on what our gifts will look like, we definitely try to be a little more realistic and transparent on, some of these big gifts that have for so long come from Santa actually come from mom and dad now also, because I'm like, wait a second, mom and dad did take the time to financially prepare for this, and Santa
Hmm.
gets a lot of credit. So, some things like that I like to just be intentional about and make sure that my kids know, like realistically, if we want to save for big ticket items, we absolutely can together. And so maybe for your birthday, instead of a big birthday party, we're going to do cash, or maybe for Christmas, we'll, save up collectively as well to do those big purchases. But on the other hand, when it comes to like actual products that we have, I really try to utilize like our travel rewards credit card. So I use that for just about everything. It's become a game for my husband and I to accumulate points to plan for what our next travel will look like based off of what points we have. And so, what's great is that the credit union does also incentivize when you do certain purchases. So, for Prime Day deals, we got an offer of you'll get 4 times the points with any Amazon purchases during this specific time frame. And I absolutely did buy light bulbs from Amazon during Prime Day deals and things that we just needed so that I could also get 4 times the points for those purchases. But being able to utilize that to then, have that accumulation to plan for our travel, to plan for different things,
Hmm.
as well as the cashback card. I mean, that's huge. You get to earn that cash back for those purchases that you're already spending on. And because we are in a era of not having too much debt, I also am very intentional about moving that money from my rainy day that's planned out for the holidays to our
Hmm.
travel card so that we don't accumulate that debt price tag with it also. I don't want to be
Yeah.
paying for 2024 Christmas in 2025.
Right. Yes, definitely. Justin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I know now that the kids in our family have kind of grown up a little bit. Now they're young adults or seniors in college. Like I'm trying to convince my family. I'm like, let's do like a weekend trip. Like let's get a cabin in the
Hmm.
Arkansas, Oklahoma. Those are easy trips from us. You don't have to break the bank for that. Also, I always talk about, if you do have a big upcoming purchase that you haven't really planned for, the credit union, our credit cards offer 0% for the first 12 months. Now, the thing is, you don't want to go overboard, right? We want to make sure, look, I'm getting that paid off before that 12-month promo expires. But I always try to highlight that as well as another option. Because,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe we're within, 60 days and the holidays are already upon us. So,
Sneaking up. Yeah, that's why we're here now, talking through how we're going about it together. You mentioned experiences, and I know Leonore, our peer, is on this call helping us coordinate the live event, but she does a lot of really creative stuff with her family. She has a lot of beautiful nieces and nephews, and this year they're going blueberry picking. So, just a tip for some folks here, a lot of farms actually around harvest will do things for free, and there's a lot of, those pricier corn maze and pumpkin picking. Pumpkin picking is way more expensive than finding a pumpkin on your own. You have to pay for the experience. And so, something to keep an eye out for, Leonore let us know, is a lot of these farms will at harvest do things for free. So, allow you to go and pick the leftover blueberries, strawberries, apples, what have you. And so, that's another way, Justin, as you alluded to, but creating more of those experiences together that don't have as big of a price tag, but have a priceless sort of tag on them. So, um, Lottery tickets is one idea that we had, which I thought is so fun, but it's an experience that allows everyone to participate, but also with a little edge of suspense. We talked through White Elephant, Secret Santas. Are there any other games or fun ways to create, experiences out of not big ticket items, but have more fun as a family? Justin, do you want to go first for this one?
Yeah, that's actually bring up a great point. So last year, came up with this idea. I didn't come up with it. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, you know what? We need to replicate that. Um, you know, go to the dollar store, bought a foam board, and then literally like hot glued red Solo cups, put different items in there, and then it was kind of like a punch board. We had lottery tickets, $5, just
Mm-hmm.
little things, and it was just a fun game that we played that didn't cost a lot of money. It didn't break the bank, but we had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, that's great. Kim, what about you and your boys?
I love it. Yes. We did something very similar with the trendy TikTok things. TikTok is so good for so many great things, and the
Mm-hmm.
ideas is one of them. Like we really loved the big cellophane whatever wrap ball that had
Oh my
nothing but a bunch
gosh.
of stuff from Dollar Tree, but the very grand prize was like a 20 or $50 bill that, you put the oven mitts on, you roll the dice, and then you just start unraveling a
Yes.
bunch of candy or knickknacks or little things that are just so exciting and inviting. And I love the idea of having those experiences. And I look back on like videos that I recorded of us doing that, and it just like cracks me up to just see like the smiles and the brightness on everyone's face when
Mm-hmm.
doing those things. The other thing that I wanted to share on the lottery ticket aspect is, I have a relative who, growing up, I have an uncle who bought gifts for everyone, and they were just beautiful, extravagant gifts. And one of my cousins now, who's kind of stepped into this role last year, he did something very similar. And, monetarily, maybe we can't do the big break the bank type of gifts. But what he did was he personalized and gave everybody individually $1 scratch off tickets. And it was just so sweet because everybody got an envelope with their name. Even our kids
Mm-hmm.
had envelopes with their name with their $1 scratch off. And it really just opened the door for me to have a conversation with my kids about like, this is what a scratch off is, and you won
Yes.
$2. Let me go in and exchange it for you. But like everybody got a gift, and it didn't have to break the bank, but it was so full of his heart in wanting to
Mm-hmm.
share and bring down that tradition that we grew up with. And I love that so
Yeah.
much. And I'll never forget it because it was just so impactful on our family at that time in that moment. And it meant everything.
Etsy is so great. I think of handcrafted like stuff that's super personalized. I always go to Etsy for gifts. It's also pretty economical if you find the right sellers. But those scratch offs, Kim, you reminded me, you can personalize like scratch offs and get your own little scratch offs off Etsy, which is
I love
so
that.
fun. It's an experience. I love it too. I was thinking of how we talked about this the other day, but White Elephant, we always have senior family members and new people to the family, right? And we're constantly getting to know each other and get closer during these times of gatherings. And White Elephant is such a fun way to do that because you get, pressure on certain people that are new or tenured, right, to gift give and be like, oh, thanks. Or, oh my goodness, that is so good. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yes.
It's like a box of chocolates. And so there's just so many more fun ways to make the most of your holidays with some of those more creative activities. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, you guys brought up like photos, creating calendars. Any other more like creative, thoughtful gifts you can think of, to share with our audiences today that might not break the bank, but really, when it comes to making memories, be impactful?
I
Either of
have
you.
one that I did a few years back. So I hope this doesn't date me too much, but Redbox, was really popular a few years back. And fun fact, you used to be able to purchase Redbox codes to give. So it was like a 30
Hmm.
pack of free one night rentals or whatever. And what we did one year is we gifted families, like of our families, like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, Redbox code so that they could have a family movie night with a couple of little bags of popcorn and drinks and things like
How
that, and
cute.
to make like a little movie package. And everybody, like when they were receiving them, were like, Redbox codes? what? Like, just things that kind of still allow for the family to get together, to utilize those things, to spend time
Mhm.
together, while not breaking the bank. That one was really fun when we did that year. And I know this year we'll have to be a little more creative because we don't have Redbox anymore. But,
Yeah.
just kind of sharing that experience with one another also is just so rewarding.
I think of subscriptions too. Those are underrated, but audiobooks and different subscriptions are also nice gifts. Something that you would obviously pay the year of, and they're allowed to decide whether or not they want to partake in, but also really nice gifts that are more creative. Um, I'm trying to think. No questions are in our chat yet, so we're just going to keep talking around our topic. So please don't be strangers. If you have any personal, helpful hacks that you want to share with us, put them in the chat. If you have any questions, please ask them. We're getting close to Q&A time, so we'll be dedicating the rest of this live event toward any thoughts that y'all have on the call. Um, Games for gifts. That's one of the other things we talked through. So actually being able to create an experience for someone. I thought of with my mom, like being a little girl growing up, spa days and replicating that at home was a huge deal. And so as I've grown up, me and my sister will always do like, let's do a girls' day. And it's more of a staycation, but we kind of get everything out in the living room and do our own little, we call it mama daughter days, but we just kind of all chill and do each other's nails and toes and kind of face masks, but even fun experiences that you can deck out with everything that you have at home are super fun. We talked about credit card points, planning earlier in the year for holiday spending for more expensive gifts. Um, I'm curious because you both are so different, and I kind of fall right in the middle between planning in advance and being a little bit more on the spot like you are, Justin, on doing things. Um, we know there's no right or wrong way, but do you think the benefits, I guess, and cons of using like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, some of those bigger time deals to your advantage? Or do you think there's more kind of setbacks with that? I'm just curious as coaches, how you help others with planning for the holidays, depending on their planning technique, right? So if they're a little more like Justin, how do you help them navigate that time of year? And Kim, if they're a little more like you, how do you help them avoid the temptation of thinking they're not done when those events come around? Kim, would you like to go first?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just as you mentioned, like there is no right or wrong way. And trust me, there have been plenty of holidays where I end up at TJ Maxx with my full list of everybody. And I'm like, if it's not at TJ Maxx, then they're not getting it
It's
this
not
year.
happening.
So it really just depends on where you're at in your financial journey. If this year everything is going to be handmade crafts or gifts or something like that, then that's what this season is. And that's what it will be. But then if you do have the planner in you that takes things a little bit, in advance or whatever, it can be a great thing or a negative thing at times because sometimes that water pick flosser that I purchased for Prime Days is actually $20 cheaper on Black Friday. So, there's different things that can happen and you just kind of roll with the punches essentially. I don't think that there is a wrong or right way of doing it. And that's kind of the beauty of it all, right? Like
Yeah,
seeing where it takes
totally.
us.
Justin, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think, Kim talked about like Prime Days. I've gone on there and honestly, I'm not a big shopper, but it almost feels like you're missing out. It's like, should I be on here? Is there something but then it's like, well, then I'm overspending on things that I might not necessarily need. So one of the
Mhm.
things that I like to do, especially like on a bigger ticket item, is, just put it in your shopping cart and then sleep on it
Mhm.
for a couple of days. It's like, okay, do I really need this? Is this a need or a want?
Mhm.
And so I think there's studies, also like you tend to overspend. So just be mindful of that, and
Yeah.
ponder on it for a little bit.
Yeah, I know with too, like Amazon, there's plugins. One is called Camel, 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 but you can actually use this. And similar to, let's face it, Amazon has become in ways like an eBay where it's harder to track the, seller and whether or not the price is surged with a different seller. And so what Camel, Camel, Camel does, it is actually scans the entire Amazon site and is able to find the exact product you're looking for at the lowest price for you. So you know that you're not being skimped out on any deals. You're getting the best deal. Speaking
Absolutely.
of, yeah, rolling with the punches, this question's for Justin. We have Sherlonda who asks, how do you get the gifts off the board? How do you get the gifts out? Do you have pics that you can share? So someone really loves your, board idea with the red solo
Yeah,
cups and having the gifts in there. So if you could explain that a little more.
yeah. So it was literally like a foam board, hot glue the cups on there, and then just the what is it, the white tissue paper, like
Mhm.
put that
Okay.
on there, and then like a rubber band. And so yeah, it
It's like
was
a
Yeah.
super
punch board, I
simple.
think is what they
Yeah,
call
like
it,
Yeah.
right? Like you like punch
exactly,
it
Yes.
and then you get your surprise gift.
That's so cool. Yeah,
exactly. So
Sherlonda, hopefully that helps. That's awesome, Justin. Super creative. Um, let's see. Mary shared a cookie candy exchange day. Love that, Mary. Definitely for our
Yes.
sweet tooths. Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Absolutely, yes. So I've participated in cookie days also, where like, a group of people get together and all we do was literally either bring dough or bake get together dough. And then you can even freeze it so that when the Christmas time comes, then you just have your dough ready and prepared. You put them on your little tray and then you can make your cookie tray or platter or whatever. That is so much fun also, where you just bring your favorite recipe or whatever it may be, and then you
Hmm.
share with so many others and you get to take home also.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Definitely. So going back to sort of budgeting and planning and monitoring your holiday spending, Emily asks, are there any apps or tools that can help me track holiday spending? So I'm thinking right now apps or apps is the first thing that comes to mind. But any other tools, Justin, Kim, that y'all can think of to help someone really stay on top of their budget for holiday spending?
yeah, I mean, even our Money Tracks app can help with that.
Oh, love that, Justin.
I was
Yes.
thinking the same. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Money Tracks is our Life Money U financial well-being program mobile app. Um, it is different than digital banking. So if you're an existing member, this app is different. What Money Tracks does, it actually focuses on four different areas. The first is your path. So that includes tracking your spending, daily sort of dashboard for where your spending is at, including savings. There's a scoreboard. So you get to check on your credit score on a daily basis, more than once a day, should you like. But this is free. And the cool thing about our Savvy Money, our free credit score monitoring tool, is that unlike Credit Karma, it doesn't report any of the data to third parties. So it's really secure and keeps your information safe. There's a coaching tab. So plug for us three here, but you can meet with any of us as well as our over 100 other coaches who are at the ready to help you build your spending plan. We're talking through a lot of different personal approaches to spending for the holidays right now at your benefit. So everyone's different. If you want to meet with Justin, Kim, or myself to talk through your spending plan, we're more than happy to do that because there's, as you can see, a lot of different ways to go about it. So yeah, Money Tracks is one tool you can use. And then there's an organizer. That's the fourth part of the app. But the organizer allows you to store all of your financial documents in one secure location. So Emily, hopefully that was helpful.
I love that. And the
Um,
BCU app also has like that spending tracker also. That's always the thing that gets me is it stares me right in the face. We have all of our little pie chart color coordinated and I'm like, okay, there's a little bit too much purple for this month. We got to bring it down a little bit. So I
yes.
love that. And apps are always great. I am a pen and paper girly. Like I love to look at things again in all of my many planners that I have. And I think,
Yeah.
realistically, we try to set a budget in place where maybe our gift giving is going to be limited to $25, $30 per person or whatever it may be, maybe a little bit extra for our children or our spouses or, those immediate family members. But, just try to do what's realistic and attainable for you. I know a lot of the coaching conversations that we have, we talk about SMART goals. SMART goals can be used for so many things, Christmas and Thanksgiving included. Like, I am such an advocate for creating and developing those SMART goals, and that realistic piece of it is like my most favorite. Like, let's be real, let's be realistic. If it's only 4 or 5 paychecks until Christmas, like how much can we really set aside in these next 5 pay periods to get us financially ready for the holidays? Thinking
Yeah.
about those things.
Kim, sneak peek for our listeners here. We have a newsletter coming out next month, and our topic is talking about just like slicing up your spending plan. So, I know, Justin, it might work to do it all at once, but it's also very helpful to just weekend by weekend. You have flea market finds, $35 for mom and aunties. Next weekend, I have the dollar store run for all my nieces and nephews, and I have a whole $40 to spend there just to put together these fun baskets for these kids to stay occupied. So really slicing it up into smart and manageable goals is super helpful. Jennifer, I see you put ornament exchanges are fun and Hobby Lobby always has good deals. I have a vivid memory at my grandparents' house. As a little girl, they would always do arts and crafts. Three girls that kept us occupied. And one of the fun ones they had was there were these ornaments where we actually got to record our voices, and we found them a couple years ago. And there's one of me at 6 years old. Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for getting me gifts. Blah, 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 blah. And I sound like a different person. And I think of myself at 6, just like thinking I'm all cool, leaving an audio message. But it was so sentimental. It made my mom tear up. And I thought that was so cute. Just ornaments can be such a simple thing, but so priceless when it comes to like the memories that it holds. So I love that recommendation for ornament exchanges. Do either of you do like ornament stuff or kind of knickknacks with folks?
So it's funny. My mom actually has several ornaments. Like you remember back in the school, like elementary school, you would make different
Oh,
ornaments.
yeah.
And so it's really
Yes.
funny to see like going back or like the little the ornaments you would get like in the Happy Meal, the Hamburglar or whatever.
Yes.
So like it's funny going back and seeing those, and it takes you back to like your childhood, and like those are some really good times, and it's cool to see.
It
Yeah.
is. I agree. I'm right there with you. My husband's family up in Austin, usually the week or two before Christmas, they do a family-wide ornament exchange, and you bring an ornament that represents you, and it's always so special when we go to the different aunts' houses to see like their Christmas tree and the ornaments that maybe we have gifted or contributed
Mhm.
to in the past. And of course, the planner and Kim, we go to Hobby Lobby, and I see an ornament that reminds me of my husband or my son or something, and I'll make mention of like, oh my gosh, look at that Texas Longhorn ornament. Do you want it for the ornament exchange? And my husband, of course, in early October is like, no, it's too early. We don't need it right now. And I'm like, it's going to be gone in a week or two. We should get it. Of
Yep.
course, this is why I have a garage full of ornaments from the years before.
They come in handy, but you bring up a good topic to, be mindful of spaving. So spaving is this new concept of spending to save, which is how everyone gets us. It's like if you spend this now, you're going to save this much, down the road, and it's like, wow, so I'm actually saving when I spend money, but that's not how it works. So just
Right,
being mindful of
right.
spaving and how what you're actually spending is what you're spending in that moment.
Yep.
Kelly, I love the idea of setting expectations. So Kelly here in the chat, Justin and Kim talks about how her and her partner coordinate, expectations. So they know what they're getting each other because they have that in mind. But as far as the actual product, how it looks, the colors, that's up to the partner to decide for the other person. And so she says she's always, blown away by whatever the color is or surprised by what he chooses for her. So I think it's a great idea to set expectations. I can relate. I know this year my partner and I actually planned for a trip. He has, I think it's Alaska Airlines, and he gets one free passenger a year for like $100 added onto his, which is saving a lot of money. And so we're going to Hawaii. And so our trip and splitting that together for the whole price of the trip was our Christmas gifts to each other. And so we've already communicated, like we can do thoughtful little things. I can make him a pair of gloves or something, whatever. We'll see. I'm not that good yet. I'm joking. But we can do something thoughtful, creative from the heart. But as far as monetary gifts go, we've kind of taken that one off the table and continued to save for next year. But I love setting expectations. We have about 7 minutes left here with you folks. So any last minute questions, please enter them in the Q&A. If not, Justin, Kim, any kind of final thoughts? If you were on a call with me right now as the client, let's say, and you're my coaches, what is the one piece of advice you would leave me with today? Justin, I'll have you go first.
I would just say stay within your means. Don't try to overdo based on like society or what you think you should be doing. And that goes back to like setting the expectations, don't set yourself up for success social media, that's a glimpse in time, and people are only showing like the wonderful things you want to see, right? Like, so
Yep.
don't go into a bunch of debt, like Kim said earlier, that you're going to be paying off in 25, 26. So that'd be
Yeah.
my one piece of advice.
I love that. And before Kim goes, if you do need help with a debt repayment plan and you know that there will be a little bit you need to manage, or more than a little bit, we're all on different pages. That's what we're here for. We're here as coaches to help you figure out that repayment plan so that you don't feel that burden after the holidays, or create a spending plan so that you can avoid the debt repayment plan. Kim, what would you leave our audience with today when it comes to spending for the holidays?
I would share a similar sentiment as Justin, just being realistic about it without having that pressure. Like, my goal when having conversations with our members, especially around this time, is to get that pit out of your stomach when it comes to these times. Like, you want to enjoy, be present in your family time, or if you're not doing family time, being present in just the season and what it means for you as well. So, have those realistic expectations. Enjoy the videos on TikTok and have that be a goal for your future self if it's not where you're at today. I think about the beautiful trips and things like that. I hope to one day have, a beautiful trip in New Mexico, Rio Doso. My sister went not too long ago and
Mm.
it was beautiful. And we were talking about this not too long ago. And that would be an incredible goal for us, to have that goal. And maybe it's not going to be this year or next, but I absolutely am going to start planning and opening up that Riodoso CD that can continue to roll over so that
Yes.
in a couple of years we can do that and it won't feel like a burden and you can enjoy and just have that peace of
Yes.
mind that comes with, not having to have that financial burden on it.
Oh, I love that advice. Thank you, Kim. Mary actually posted just a message here in the chat, and I'm happy to take this knowing that my family is out of town. But her question is, most of my family is out of town. What is the best way to minimize shipping costs? So I would love for both of you to have your input. What I do, Mary, might not be super helpful, but I get one bag checked for free, and I use that for my gifts when I go for the holidays. And I bring my wrapping paper, so I always take the guest room and I just shut it and I wrap them all there on the spot and then put them under the tree. So I don't really ship, but if your family is out of town and you won't be seeing them in person, would love to hear Justin, Kim, any thoughts on minimizing shipping costs when it comes to delivering stuff out of state to relatives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Amazon's a great option too, right? Ship
Ooh,
directly
good
to,
idea.
to the recipient. I love that it's super easy to return things no matter where you're at. You can return them to Kohl's, you can return them to Whole Foods. So I think those are great options versus having to spend more money to send something back that maybe didn't fit or wasn't quite the right product.
I'm
Awesome.
right there with you. Yeah, for sure. Even having like Target delivery, I like to do those also. And just kind of prefacing that with wherever it's leading to, if you're going to be there, similar to Danny, like any Target boxes that come addressed to Kim, leave them in the garage. And when I get there, I will take care of it. Even so much as including sending out the wrapping paper and sending out that stuff so that everything is in your corner when you arrive. That's definitely a good one. And even changing our gift type, like sending out cards that have a gift card instead of a full-blown package that's gift
Mhm.
wrapped and all that with the heavy weight or whatever it may be. Evolving the gift as well to make it a little bit lighter and shipping friendly.
Yeah, that's great.
Good point.
Um, Angelace also added to our tip. She said, I always look for merchants that offer no shipping fees and easy returns exchanges. Angelace, that's great advice. Thank you for adding it. Joe asked, and then this will probably be our final question, so we'll get ready to wrap it up. But Joe asked us, what does starting a budget look like to you all? So very simply put, how would you start with a budget? I'll let Kim, you answer this one.
Yeah, for sure. Great question, Joe. I always talk to people, they always ask, like, where do you start? And you start with what's most comfortable for you. Even as little as $5 every pay period can grow to $100 a pay period. So, out of sight, out of mind. What's great is the credit union gives you the option to even hide accounts. So when we started out, we hid our rainy day because the minute that started to grow, it was the minute that we were like, what is it that we needed again? I think we needed a kayak or something. So even starting with as little as $5 and allowing it to grow in your eyes and then setting it and forgetting it is such a huge thing also.
Definitely. Well, we're just about at time, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we're Life Money U financial well-being program provided by BCU, a credit union fiercely committed to your financial well-being. I'm Danny. You've been with Kim and Justin today. You'll see in the chat here, you can email any of us or reach out at info@lifemoneyu.com for more information. Again, our one-on-one coaching is free. So I'll leave you with that. If anyone needs help today, coaching is free with any of us, and we're here to help. So with that, we hope your holidays are extra special and we hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.